This is a live game, 7.27D. This one's going to be DuBu, position 4. And there's going to be a pause. And this is a live game. So this is going to be DuBu. I think he's rank 19 or so. And let me just check this out real quick. I just want to make sure. Yeah, he's rank 19. So this guy, obviously we know him from old school MVP style and all that. He's an awesome person. I mean, he streams a lot. He's just good stuff. But rank 25 Roya, he's here as well. 77, 23. Like, this is pretty high level, right? Gunner. Oh, crap. Gunner is here. And he's on the Storm Spirit. So we have a lot of potential. Now, again, I didn't see how the draft went. But it's usually position 5 and 4. So it's looking like a Marana and ET to kind of start things off. 5-4. And then you've got the Enchantress and probably Io. Okay. Does get the little stun there. And he's going to just kind of back off here. But hang on. Let's click on actual DuBu. Who's only got a set of tangos. Yeah, so he doesn't have much. Obviously, just kind of starting out. But Gunner getting very low. Doesn't need to be a little bit careful. He's kind of just scouting around. Mind you, that this guy, this is his camera perspective, right? Notice how it's very different from other supports in the sense that he's literally just kind of looking out everywhere. Because you get that information, you know that 4 minutes is there, and he's got a fortuitous haste, and he's literally going to just run up on Gunner. The arrow is going to be off the mark, but it doesn't really matter, and he's going to help draw first blood, and the Viper taking a lot of damage. And yeah, he does go down, so I guess they got something out of it, but, you know, when you get the rune, just really heads-up play, right? A lot of information in terms of what you're doing. You're just constantly looking around, making sure that you get the right gank, and they were able to do that here. But yeah, so it's going to take some of the mid lane, especially with Viper down for another, what, 5 or so seconds. But Gunner's back. He just pulls back DuBu. A little bit of half damage, but yeah, with the Viper there, he doesn't need to be a little careful. Doesn't have much, but he's doing a good job of zoning. He's kind of looking around. Notice it's a 1-2 build. And he's looking for the Storm. He saw him nearby in 5 minutes. And actually, DuBu's a little slow to make his way around to get those runes, which is something that he needs to do. Gunner picked up a rune. The AM picked up a rune, who, mind you, is not named. Let's see if it's... Okay. He's rank 61, though. Might be hiding it. But Vision, and he's camping around the mid lane. He's really looking for some potential plays here. He does have his boots and a ward now. He places the ward. It's a little different one, because if you place the sentry, usually it'll deward that, or it'll spot it out. But DuBu's going to have to run away here. Io's level 3. He did see that. And he's kind of nearby. What is he doing? He's leeching XP. And if he gets low, he can just kind of look to attack him, right? So this is kind of why DuBu is just in the area. And he's actually getting decent levels just by doing this. But Morana's going to make his way over as well. Viper's in position. And they found Miku, and the arrow misses again. I feel like this guy literally has one job. And that, look at that patience. Patience, right? He had the spirit out for a long time. Didn't actually cast the stop because he didn't really realize, like, he didn't have to waste it. And it was giving vision throughout the tree. So when you have all the shots and you're just kind of bursting it through, it's like, it's a really nice play by DuBu there. Make sure that you have the vision. Glyph here. And they've got the Astral Spirit nearby. And he's a 2-man stomp. But he doesn't actually have a follow-up into... Okay, he does have the arrow. The Io is there, is going to start to overpower, and he zips away. And this is a 3-man mid. So they're putting a lot of pressure on the mid lane. Faceless Void is 31, so last hits. So not as great. I mean, it's a little bit more difficult trying to lane up against this Enchantress here. So this is one way to deal with it. When you're not having the greatest of lanes, and as a position 4, definitely you want to be doing this. You want to be roaming, making sure that your presence is felt, and just affect as much as you possible, especially when you know somebody like Gunner, who's a pretty high-level mid. And he's going to go for the zip. They're going to go for it now. They got the tether, and they have him nearby. Viper really can't do anything. And so here comes, yeah, the nice little stomp, a 2-man stomp, but there's 4 heroes mid. And there's no way the Viper was going to survive on that one. Even with the stomp, I mean, yeah, it was a nice 2-man stomp or whatever, but you really can't just... close it out. You don't have that control. Not yet. And so Viper is... I'm not a huge fan of Viper mid. I think a lot of people that have been paid attention to my cast realize this. I think the hero falls off. He's very, like, yeah, I can dominate the lane, but even in this situation where he's kind of like slightly better, like 36-13, like that's a lot of denies, but he falls off. He's not a playmaker. He doesn't have that like get out of jail free card. He has 0 mobility. He needs to have perfect positioning, right? And I feel like this is hard to do, especially in a game of like Dota where, you know, 5 heroes can be on you in a moment's instance. I mean, they got the relocate, they got AM who can blink on top of you, Storm zipping in, just potential, you know, the misplays are there. It's almost impossible to play perfect games. Hey, the Self-Expanse, how are you? Anyways, so he's got the stack, which is going to be nice. That's going to kind of rack it up. He does spot that one out. So it looks like he's going to be just sticking around. And he's spent a lot of time in the mid lane. And even Viper is getting in on this. They've got the stack here. He's got the invis, and he gets away. Oh, they do have this. They spot him out. They do have the sentry. And yeah, there's really no reason for DuBu to be coming in. But he throws out the spirit. Just backs off now. And Viper, that was very aggressive. That was like one of those things where, and he's going through because, okay, here comes the arena and he's looking to fight. He's got the spear. They do connect on IO. And he's level 5, but the arrow's going to be off the mark again. Mirana has missed almost every single hero with those arrows. But here comes Faceless Void. They got the nice chrono, which is perfect. Notice how the Mars was not set in that, and they've got the chrono on top, like chrono and the spirit stomp, all of that stuff, just kind of destroying it. So. Very nice play. I mean, a little bit of a rotation from Faceless Void. And Viper looks like they're going to swap, and they've got a nice little three stack here. They do need to be careful. Again, another arrow misses. So that's no big surprise from this Mirana, who seems to be not able to hit his mark. But the silence, they do have him. The spirit is there. AM is just getting on. The Mana Void is going to be committed for this. And yeah, they got that kill. Elder Titan just very aggressive. And to answer your question, the Self-Expands, basically, you know, if you're on my YouTube, I'm gonna slowly stream the vids out. But basically, everyone else, you know, you can check out the streams if you subscribe. So it's just kind of one of those things to help support the stream, and to kind of help push this along. If you don't mind being patient, just stick on my YouTube, and again, I have all my vids there. But yeah, so it looks like DuBu's only level 5 at 10 minutes, excuse me. Mirana's actually going to take up the tomb. So ET, which I think is a very strong level 6, I think Mirana's is actually better with the Moonlight. Which is pretty key in this situation. DuBu really needs to get 6, but he's like going to be ticking away. He's level 6 now, so a non-factor. So he's going to continue to just push. Stop, that's the best way to do it. Stack it up. And actually the creeps will walk around it, most of it, which kind of splits it up. Not the greatest thing. But interesting enough, no natural order. Usually I would go 1 into spirit. You know, the stomp is definitely my priority, but I think natural order is actually quite good. At least the value point. I think that you needed 1. So for me, it'd probably be like a what? 2-1-1? 2-1-1. Wait, that doesn't even have the 6. What is this? 3-1-1-1. That's where I would want to be at level 6. Alright, I didn't have my abacus. No. So, the Self-Expanse. Basically, for full disclosure, I was casting. I was doing top clans. So, I actually took a little bit of a break because I couldn't. I was just overwhelmed in the sense of actually casting and then doing my own thing in my own stream. I couldn't do that. I don't have the voice for that for like, 8 to 10 hours in a day. So, I think 6 is like my limit, so to speak. So in terms of, that's kind of why my YouTube was a little bit on hiatus for that month. Because it was like a month-long league, right? But yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it's good to see that you're here now. That's all that really matters. But I will be more regular. I think that you're seeing that, at least on the YouTube as well. So ET, a little bit more dewarding. I mean, yes, it's just a sentry, but just denying as much as possible. And they place a nice little ward that will actually block some of those creeps. That camp there, but he does need to be careful because there is a fight, and mind you, this is past 10 minutes. We need to be watching these things. Again, AM gets another kill on this Viper, who's just like a sitting duck. Yes, his last hits are like the highest in this game, but if we're looking at it in terms of net worth, he's died a lot. 4 times, right? And he's still like, top 3 net worth, highest last hits, or he was up until that death. So Viper really knows how to farm, but the hero, like, it's in an awkward situation. Like, he has no mobility. He has nothing. He's going to go for Atos. I mean, which is perfect against the Storm and this AM, which are largely the same. They want to cast spells and just get out in and out. But Enchantress here has the Glimmer. That's a nice little counter to all of this. But the biggest thing is going to be this Chrono, right? How can Faceless Void do this? They got Moonlight here. And he's near Storm, just sapping all the XP, and now the Chrono's going to be committed. He's gotten all of it into the Earth Splitter, and it's going to go, and it does slam dunk it. And DuBu nicely... Actually, he will steal the kill. All right, he'll take it from... You'll get from... oh, did I say Atos? I meant to say Orchid. Yeah, you are correct. Anyways, that was a nice little combination there. Just waiting for the camps to be cleared, sapping as much XP as possible. Okay, Glyph is going to be used here. Viper's pushing the bottom lane. Io is in position. Only has mech. Obviously, you don't need boots, especially when you're just a spirit and you have no feet. No, I'm just kidding. He actually... This hero really doesn't need boots. I think it's the only hero in the game that's like this. Nonetheless, ET is nearby. He's going to be going for Glimmer. Again, something that I like. It helps with all the magic, and it just keeps them alive. Because, you know, these guys don't want to be carrying dust. They want to be 6-slotted, and they just want to just blow stuff up. So it makes sense. Dude's going to back up. Mars has got Blink. He's got the Initiation, which is great. So he can kind of start it off, get the arena going, and then that'll be your team fight. And then when it looks like... the arena is about to expire, or they have the perfect opportunity, that's when your Chrono comes in. So that's the whole team fight, plus, you know, the ET and the Earth Splitter and all that, just destroying stuff. Like, it's this wombo combo that they're looking for. And it makes Viper's life easier, because all he does is just spew his poison into that arena, and it should just kind of burn things up. Okay, here's the zip in. Gunner going for this. He gets the pullback, and they have him with the IO as well. And then here comes the arena. They do Spear in the IO, which is perfect. That's the one you want to focus on. And they get Gunner as well. So it's a nice two-man kill, nice little counter initiation. And they're going to go for Grimstroke, who's going to try to back away. He does have the Ink Swell, and that does explode on DuBu. And that's to the face, but they have a Blink in, and the Spear Sacred just way too quick. And with Phase and Blink, I mean, that's just going to make quick work of that guy. So that's a nice little play there, but can they get any sort of objective? And they're going to back up. The creeps are going to do a little chip damage, but that should be the extent of that. I mean, they're going to kind of just pull it away. The reason being is that the cooldown timers, the respawn timers, that is, it's so short, right? It's very difficult to get any sort of damage on these things now, especially since at this stage of the game, because not only are the respawn timers quick, but you don't really have the itemization to really do the damage. Gonna get Yules on the Mirana. This is position 5. Again, I understand that Mirana can be played in almost any position, but I feel like it's greedier than a normal position 5 should be. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of Mirana as a position 5, but this is the pub life, and so sometimes you don't have that choice. Here comes the Orchid. He's actually not going to go for it. Okay. But Moonlight is going to be committed. It's about more than halfway through. ET slowly walking around. I think they gave vision. They had vision of this. The Moonlight, the Observer Ward, and the Sentry being nearby. I think they spotted this out. And Mars blinks forward. They found the IO who's been silenced with the arrow actually connecting. That will secure the IO. And IO needs to play a little bit safer. I feel like he's been out of position quite a lot. And 4 deaths is to his name as well. Gunner, on the other hand, does have Orchid. So that's a pretty big power spike. But he has been able to find the appropriate ganks. And it's kind of hard to do. Like Storm Spirit, yes, he's going to zip onto ET. He's got the silence as well. He pulls back. But here comes the reinforcements, and he's kind of tanky. Oh, the arena is just a little bit off the mark. The spear does connect, though, and they have the vision and the stop as well, and they've looked to turn this around, and he's got nowhere to go, no mana, nothing he can do. The Enchantress will get away. The arena is completely off the mark on that one. But yeah, this is not a great situation for the Storm to be in. Like, the team fight, like, you want to be going up against casters. Basically, just anybody that you could just zip in, Orchid, blow up, get out, right? Like, that's usually how it works. But the ET, Mars, Viper, even Faceless Void, who can time walk all this stuff away, can pretty much get away from you, right? So these are the kinds of things where it would be best or ideal if, you know, you had a better lineup that you were going up against. So this seems like a bit of a... I understand that Gunner is like an amazing Storm, but this is not an easy game for him. And we're seeing this. We're seeing this now with 0, 5, and 3. He's had a bit of a rough time of this. All right, so Grimstroke, who's been largely quiet, almost has Aether Lens. AM just happily just trying to use this space. And yes, they're losing, but I mean, he's got Battle Fury Yasha, which is no small feat in and of itself. Like, how many times are you in a bad game where you're 5-12, excuse me, and your AM is able to get this all before 18 minutes? So he's kind of finding his farm, and he's proving that he's tops. Roya gets in. They get the spear back on Gunner. The IO tether is there, but oh, he does have the mech to heal that one, but he can't get away. That's like perma stun into the silence, and Faceless Void is going to look to just hunt this ball of light down. They get the spear, and does connect to the high ground, and IO dies as well. Enchantress trying to farm, AM split pushing, trying to buy some time, and he's going to get Manta. And they're looking to turn this one right into a Roshan. So you're getting an objective, which is really great by Radiant here. They've got a decent amount of space. But, I mean, this is the first Roshan, so we'll give him props. And it looks like Viper is going to be going Orchid next. Oh, sorry, Blink next. Not a huge fan of that. I just prefer this guy to go like Grieve style. Just sustain. But mobility is an issue, but I'm not sure if this is the right call. I don't like Viper getting... Maybe a Force Staff, Hurricane Pike, like that level. You pull yourself away, but it looks like IO is nearby. They do need to be careful. They're going to chrono just to ensure that they get it, but actually it gets picked up by Gunner, who makes a play, gets the Aegis as well. The Inkswell is going to connect it. Aegis has been popped. He's been speared back, but yes, I mean, you got Roshan and you got Aegis, so that was kind of a good deal. It was a nice little two-man kill there, a little bit of a sacrifice in that sense, but nice play by Gunner. Really nice play. I mean, if you're looking at it, that could have just completely changed the way this game was going to go. And it looks like the stomp, Mirana getting a little low. AM thought he could go for this. Mana Void was committed. He's been silenced, earned, and yes, this is a painful time for AM when you're silenced, walking away, thinking that all you wanted was the position 5 Mirana. And he's got Vessel and 3 of his best friends nearby, and that's going to happen. And AM kind of throwing it at this point. I mean, yeah, that was just like the one bad fight, but the first death by the AM. But with what? Gunner and the IO dead? Not a good time to take a fight, right? You know that this team is wanting to stick together, so it seems a little silly to be making any sort of play. I understand that you're AM and you're trying to make something happen, trying to keep your team in it, but at this point, it's all about split pushing, just taking what space and pushing the creepways back as much as you can, especially since your team has not done well. You cannot afford to die. So, like, your team is making mistakes, you cannot be making a mistake. Oh, the Yules into the arena, the spear in as well, and the Serene King will take that one. The Earth Splitter, and AM actually blinks into this, but he's near the IO, and they've gotten the Gunner, but they have 4 heroes nearby. Raykill, Miku taking a lot of damage. It's about halfway. The Inkswell, and then he's trying to get it going, and then he goes in and gets the Viper. But the Glimmer's there, but they have the dust. They do spot him out. AM gets speared to the tree, but the IO's trying to heal him. The mech is not doing enough. He just barely blinks away, but the Vessel's ticking away. Is he going to die? I think he's okay. Whew, that was very, very close, but they did get the Viper, so it's just, you know, a mid for a mid. Not the worst of trades, but that was a lot closer than it probably should have, especially at this stage of the game. I mean, this is a scary time. AM needs to play perfectly. IO was on point in terms of his heals and his tether and all that, but they do need to be a little bit careful. All right, so the zip in by Storm. Continue to split push, and yeah, look at how like rough of a game he's had. Enchantress has been quiet, but the thing is that he's been, or she's been, split pushing as much as possible. Oh my god, 0, 8, and 3. I feel like I'm playing Storm. This is like my game. He's had a rough go of this, and they've got Moonlights, and they're waiting for the team to come by. The blink away by AM, and they were like, okay, we'll get Gunners. Like, actually, I think the AM is the bigger fish in this case, and they back away, and the little indecision. They saw the AM, and they're like, oh, okay, maybe we'll go for him at the last second, and they try to change it. DuBu glimmers away, and that's all you can do. Just a really nice heads-up play by DuBu there, making sure that he's fine. He's got to play safe. All right, so Faceless Void continuing to farm. He has MOM. He's going to be going MKB next. He's had a pretty good game. I mean, just the space that everybody's provided. Like, if you're looking at teams like this, right? I mean, you have a really good player in Gunner. You have your AM who seems to find, he knows how to get farm. Everybody seems to be like that high level, right? I mean, especially at this rank, which is like top 50 and up. Like, everybody knows how to play, but there are times when you need to play as a team. You need to make sure that you get that right pick off, right? And they haven't been able to do this. Like, if we're looking at what the Dire have done, is they've been more reactive. Zip in, they found the Viper, and he's by himself. And this is going to be a good gank. This is the one you need to do. Make sure that you focus on one of the cores, and getting the Viper is pretty massive, especially since he doesn't have the blink. And I like the fact that the Viper did not go blink. I'm sure somebody told him in chat. But they get the Chrono on Gunner, and the IO, just they're not, being able to save him. So IO needs to be further away. Just stick around Gunner so that if the Chrono does happen, he just, tethers on, relocates him out. Yeah, the IO will probably die for that, but you need to kind of save your cores at this point. He hasn't been able to do that. I don't think I've seen a single good relocate. I am realizing that he can't lock anybody down, so he's picked up the clumsy net himself. So, continuing to farm. He's going to get Abyssal, which is nice. Enchantress has been, again, just happily farming, right? She seems to be like a non-factor, but this is okay as an offlaner. I'm like okay with this play. Yeah, she hasn't been in all the team fights, but she doesn't really have the mobility. So this is one of those cases where you just need to push the lane, split push, get as much farm as you can, figure out other ways to help out the team. And it looks like they're going to smoke up here. They're trying to bait out. He does have Basher on the AM. Whew. And this Gunner has had a rough go today. They're looking around. Roshan is up in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Still a ways away. Smoke here. Can they find anything? They haven't had a single good pickoff. And this is just like, oh, that arrow blind. Okay. They're spotting things out. They're pinging. They know something is up. And they've got a Moonlight. And DuBu's going to be the first one to go up. And they get the Courier. So they definitely saw that. Oh, and the nice blink Yules. And they've got the Arena Spear, which is the nice little combination. And the Dust kills the Gunner one more time. And then here comes the Soulbind, but not much. The Inkswell's not even going to trigger. Miku just trying to latch on to Enchantress and get up on there. But he gets Yules again into the arrow. Nice little combination. Mars and Mirana have been great with the Yules. And this is where you're getting tremendous value. And through that all, AM is continuing to just split push. Again, you really can't fight, so what do? Is AM, it sucks. I understand your team is probably going to ping you. They're like, we should have fought and all that. And they're raging in chat and all that stuff. But, like, at the end of the day, you really can't fight. Like, this is completely on AM to make sure that he stays alive, right? This is the biggest thing. Oh, he does need to be careful here. He's got the counterspell, and the counterspell on the Yules. Okay, nice little heads-up play. Enchantress is farming through the trees. No space. What do? Storm. Trying to get BKB. And this guy's had, like, literally, one item already. That's pretty much it. The arrow, the stroke. And you have your Wild Wing Ripper with his Tornado, or I like to say passing gas. And Gunner gets speared into the arrow, and Gunner again improve. Oh, he gets the nice little tether heal, but that looks to be just sacrificed as well. He's been silenced. Yeah, he's not getting away from this. So Miku, rough. Like, Storm is not tanky enough where he's a great target to be tethered to. Like, yeah, you have that little burst, but like, he's still squishy as all hell. Like, he's pretty much a range creep right now. The Inkswell into the stomp. It does connect. They walk out of that, make sure that they don't get stunned. And yeah, it looks like Grimstroke is going to die here. Silence or not, it doesn't really matter, especially when you can just right-click you and bash you to death. They found the AM, the Yules, and the Counterspell, but that doesn't actually get counterspelled, as weird as that sounds. He's been silenced, though, and the Viper is here. He mantas out of that one, out of the Orchid. The Courier going to pick up his stuff, but he does need to be careful in terms of how he micros that. I'm kind of rooting for this AM, man. I feel like this is the underdog story. Their team has not played well. Gunner especially has been throwing. Miku as well. But a lot of those mistakes have been because of Gunner. And this is a lack of vision. It's a lack of farm that Gunner was able to get. And they focused on making sure that this guy did not have a good game. And he gets chronoed. That would, like, you saw the arrow. This is like you should have your spider sense tingling, and you should be like, oh shit, like somebody's nearby. I need to get the hell out of here. Like he just stayed around. He's like, no, I'm just gonna take this creep, and he pays with his life. Just a really bad trade there. So does need to be a bit careful. Tethering here. This is the only one you really need to keep up. Everybody else is kind of tanky. Maybe the Enchantress, depending on which, but they have a decent amount of magic. So in this case, as this IO, you need to ensure that your AM stays alive. Like he's your 4+1, right? You need to protect this guy. Make sure that this guy, because this is the only guy that can keep you in this game. Gunner right now is pretty much a, position 4 and below. Like, this guy has had a rough go of things. Like, he's bottom 4 in this game. And, Storm is continuing to farm, trying to do as much as he can. AM, on the other hand, it's going to be 30 minutes soon. Which I think is a little unfortunate. Oh, okay, they pick up the outpost now. All right, I was going to say. And they do a little chip damage, T1 mid. Again, very important, but at 30 minutes, this is what it took. And an arrow does connect. And that stun is God knows how long. It's like 5 seconds at this point. But he does get it. The spirit is nearby. He blinks away. They do need to be a little bit careful, especially since all the, the dire heroes are nearby. They've spotted Roshan. And sorry, whose courier is this? Okay, so Gunner's courier is going to spot that one out. And they're kind of sticking around. I don't think that you go for this straight up. I think that you need a little bit of a pick-off. Oh, the silence. The glimmer keeping him alive. The stomp. Oh, he just barely gets out of that. The silence just expires right at that moment. But they're going to get Grimstroke. He does have buyback if they want to go. And I think it's Radiant. This is where you can kind of be like, okay, we can take Roshan. I think safely. You force out the buyback. If they buy back, then maybe consider going elsewhere. But Viper's going to just push the mid lane here. Spew out his poison, his nether toxin. Enchantress is nearby. They got Gunner. Oh, but the Glimmer is there. And they have Moonlight as well. And they could not actually find the gank. AM is going to be like, okay, we're going to trade Roshan for this T2 bottom, put a little bit of pressure, and now you have a road to the high ground at least, which is, I guess, okay for AM, in the sense that you know that these guys are going to want a team fight, and they're going to just kind of death ball it straight mid, or one of the other lanes, depending on which, and then AM can kind of do some chip damage on the T3s as well. So that's kind of your route to victory at this point, is that you need to ensure that you create as much space as possible. So the Radiant, if they want to go high ground, they need to continue to fix the lanes. Oh, I saw the blink in. And they found Mirana, who doesn't have any mana, and he gets blown up there by the Mana Void. So that's a nice little pick off there. But they're going to just trade that for the T2 mid, as Glyph there just kind of prolonging stuff. AM is still nearby, and he's got mangoes. Yeah, he'll just get that for the mana, and he'll just put a little pressure here, which is really nice. This is what you want to do as an AM. I like the fact that he's kind of... Like, how many teams would be like, we need to just, yeah, they're stronger than us, mid or whatever, but we're just going to die, we're going to protect this as much as possible. But AM is sticking around, understanding that this is the route to victory. You force rotations to the bottom lane. Now you have less heroes elsewhere, and then you can look for some sort of pick-off and just kind of fix out the lanes. Like the fact that IO has found out, that the AM is, in fact, the priority target and keeping him alive. There's no way you can keep Gunner alive, so you have to find this guy, right? Chrono again, easiest Chrono of his life. The Enchantress is nearby, and the TP is going to be used. Yeah, he's been silenced, but it really doesn't look like much. AM is also going to fight. Mars doesn't have any mana. Moonlight is going to be committed, and they do have the smoke. Oh, the cheese is there. They had the dust, excuse me, and they found Mars. So this AM is starting to get a bit strong. He does have that Abyssal. They do need to be careful in terms of how they approach this. I mean, yeah, you got the pick off on Gunner, but he's really not that target anymore. Like, when he dies, he gave up 683 gold. That's actually a decent amount of gold there, but... I mean, this AM is the one they need to find. He's 3, 1, and 2, so he's been stealthily avoiding all of the gank attempts. And he's found ways to kind of keep himself tops of this net worth. Oh, but here comes the silence and the soulbind, which is going to connect. Man, oh, the stomp was there, but AM getting so low. He blinks away. Oh, barely gets out of there with about 135 life. The arena's going to be committed. The TP, no, he gets Yules, and then it looks like they're going to go for Enchantress. Enchantress is trying to get the heals to kind of go, but the bashes and as well. The Glimmer is going to be used. He jukes them away, and wow, he does get away for now, but yeah, with no other way to get out. Gunner's going to go for Mirana. He gets the zip back. He does find him. The stomp is going to be, no, not timed properly. He's been silenced, but Gunner's looking to run for his life. They've lost 3. He doesn't need to be careful. My God, that Viper's doing work. And he zips away, and he has to commit the BKB. That's a huge commitment just for that. Mirana, that's what, a 10-second one? Yeah, it was the 10-second. And so AM is nearby, does have a counter spell. But with 3 down, I think that you have to sacrifice your mid racks here. They might be able to save 1. Yeah, you gotta zip through. You gotta kill these creeps, but not quick enough, I guess. At this point, Storm's nearby. He's been silenced, and he's kind of caught out. He zips forward. Yes, the AM is near. It's like, no, but we can't fight into this. And the AM actually smartly gets out of there. Yes, they lost the mid racks. Gunner, just try to be cute. This is one of those things where you zip through and you TP, right? You just rinse and repeat. Yes, it sucks. Yeah, you're not really doing much damage, but he actually committed that, and he got caught out. So, again, a pretty huge misplay by Gunner there. Nice 2-man stomp into the arena. The IO tether is going to be used, but the Soulbind is going to be committed as well. But AM just getting worked on. Oh, my gosh, he's barely alive. This is the second really close blink, escape, excuse me. And with about 135 life, he just barely gets alive. And he's going to use, okay, wow, Ghost Scepter just to keep himself alive. And he's going to be going E-Blade. Interesting. Okay, that's one way to kind of just deal with this right-clicking machine of Faceless Void. Doesn't need to be careful. You need to wait for somebody. You haven't given up the game, especially since you haven't given up Megas yet. But this is a rough time, right? This is a very difficult game for AM. And Faceless Void is actually taken over. They blink forward, but the Chrono is going to be committed, and it looks like the IO Tether is their Gunner just trying to TP away. He insta-buyback. And here we go. Gunner gets blown up as well. And Serene King is just making a menace of everybody. Destroys everybody. Even getting the Yules on this. This is a potential dieback. He gets speared back into the once was previously known as a shrine. And this building will take him out. And that looks to be GG. He has played a perfect game. Going in that aggressively was not the right play. You needed some way to just kind of bait out the Chrono. And the fact that he has Aegis, like, really not much you can do. But that was a very clinical game. Really nice play by the Radiant side. Even the arrow is going to commit as well. Stop in. Arena just used. Just kind of put a little salt on the wounds. 35 minutes. 39-10. It's kind of what we expected. Just really, like, just the supports were on point. The ganks. Just controlling that. There was never any doubt that they were going to win this game. So really heads up play by the entire Radiant side. I mean, even making this Viper, who died a lot. He was like, hang on, I don't even know how many times he died. He died like 4 times in like the first like 12, 15 minutes. Like, he had a rough go at things. But when you're able to have this proper support, like 5-1-23, holy crap, DuBu. Holy crap. Like, these supports, like even Mirana, yeah, you didn't hit a single arrow, but your Moonlights are on point, making sure that you're nearby. Just the vessels, like, he baited them out. And, Sacred here with just some really nice blink arenas, just really nice plays all throughout. So, like, big props to everybody on the team. But again, I think we need to go the MVP with his Faceless Void. Got a decent amount of farm. 16-0-7. When you haven't died a single time, you're going to pretty much win MVP almost every time. Able to get his farm, do most damage, and just make Gunner's life hell. This was actually really embarrassing by Gunner. The fact that, like, Annie only got 2nd place in his Battle Cup. So shots fired to Gunner here, but he did not have a good game. And I think that it's more of like a draft thing. It's kind of go in, and laning against Viper is not the easiest of things. So there's a lot of things that could have been better. And just trying to protect him. Like, this is a very squishy lineup. There's no traditional offlaner to kind of just provide space. Because if AM goes in, he's going to tank everything. The Chrono and all that stuff. Like, Enchantress, like, non-factor almost the entire game. Like, pretty quiet. Not the traditional offlaner in the sense of like the Pipe Crimson, utility that, a team really needs. If you're looking at it, vice versa. If you had this Mars on the enemy team, I think that we could have saw a completely different game, right? Just the fact that, like, this guy goes in, if he arenas somebody, he's going to attract attention. This is going to be one of those things where Faceless Void needs to think, do I Chrono this guy? Like, what do I need to do? Is this something I need to deal with? And, like, this is a situation where, yeah, the Enchantress is there, but I'm never going to Chrono him. He doesn't do that much damage. If I Chrono the Storm Speeder or the AM, it's just GG, and you exactly saw what happened. So just a very quick game, smartly drafted, just outplayed. Very good game there by the Radiant team. Props to DuBu. If you like what I do, please give a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much.